So, good evening, happy Monday. And it is a happy Monday, especially when Arsenal win, which isn't often. But we did get a resounding victory in the end yesterday after a brilliant second half of football. It was a joy to watch at parts of that game yesterday. First half was probably less said the better, but the second half, we did really, really well. And we pushed forward and got further up the pitch and started pressing them a lot harder, getting the ball back in key areas. And then as soon as we got the first goal, it was pretty much game over after that. They just folded like a deck of cards, didn't they? And that was down to some fantastic wing play from Pepe and some fantastic wing play from Bukayo Saka, who, by the way, we're apparently trying to sort out negotiations on a new contract. So that's all positive news. And we need to tie him up to a new deal real quick, because otherwise all the other clubs in Europe, we don't need to name them, we know who they are going to be sniffing around. So we need to get that sorted out. But today I want to speak about Matteo Guendouzi. Obviously, he wasn't in the squad yesterday. Neither was Maitland-Niles, by the way. I think that's gone unnoticed. Maitland-Niles hasn't been in the last two squads, despite playing right back for most of the season. And yeah, he weren't in the squad. But I want to talk about Guendouzi. There's a story that's come out that said that he's had a bit of a fallout with Arteta. He's had a bit of a bust up. And it boils down to the fact that he wants to play more games. Now, obviously, he burst onto the scene under Unai Emery. Everybody was hailing it a Michelin tap masterclass. He's unearthed a gem, and he's played so many games for Arsenal. He's been pretty much a mainstay in the team under Unai Emery. And then Arteta's come in, and he's kind of kicked him out of the team, really. And listen, Arteta's more than welcome to do that. At the end of the day, he's the boss. If he wants to pick his team, he picks his team. But at the same time, there is a Euros this summer. So I can kind of understand why Guendouzi wants to play football matches. Obviously, when you've played so many games back to back to back to back, then the manager changes, then a new manager comes in, and all of a sudden, you're not getting a game. I like the fact that he's got the ump over it. You know, I'd rather him have the ump over not playing than be, well, all right, I'll just collect my wages then. And at the same time, I kind of rate Arteta. See, I can praise, make a note of that. 6:04, well, 5:04 your time in the UK. 5:04 on the 17th of February, I praised Arteta. So keep that one noted. Yeah, keep that one noted. But I do rate Arteta for sticking to his guns. Now, on the other side of that, why is it, and I'm going to ask this question, why is it that a young player gets kicked out the team and that's seen as acceptable, but then when it's a more experienced player, Pepe, for example, see, you all thought I was going to say Mesut Ozil, didn't you? Pepe gets kicked out the team, and a lot of us had the ump. I had the ump. I'm not too disappointed that Guendouzi's not been playing games. I think that the partnership with Xhaka and Torreira has been pretty damn good since Arteta's been here. And I was shocked that Torreira didn't play yesterday, if I'm honest. But at the same time, there is a Euros coming up. And he has started playing for France. He's been in the squads, in and around the squads for France. And I'm sure that he wants to kick on and go and play for France in the Euros this time around. Obviously, they're the current world champions. They're probably one of the red-hot favourites to win the Euros as well. So if I was him, I'd be kicking off as well. But like I said, it's down to Arteta to make these decisions. And if it's going well, which I suppose if you look at it, we're unbeaten this year. We've only lost one game under Arteta in the league. In fact, in all competitions. In 9 games, is it? 10 games? We've only lost one league game, and that was to Chelsea. So I suppose in that terms of it, it's actually not gone too bad. And Guendouzi's hardly featured in any of them games. So on that side of it, you could say, right, Arteta's right by dropping him because it's clearly working. He ain't going to get in the team over Torreira. He ain't going to get in the team over Granit Xhaka right now. So I think that it's been probably a wise move. Now, the fact that he's kicked him out the squad completely, if you believe the reports that are flying around in the media, that might do Guendouzi a favour. You know, Ceballos was not in squads. Ceballos was in training, but he weren't then picked for squads. Pepe, although he's not really been dropped from squads, he has been dropped from starting 11s. And we now see that Pepe turned it on again yesterday. He turned it on against Man United. He was super sublime against West Ham, albeit that was under Freddie Ljungberg. But sometimes it does take a player being dropped to then get them back on it, because I do feel that Guendouzi has played way too many games. I've said that all season. I was even saying it towards the back end of last season. He's played too many games. He's 20 years old. People forget that. And he has been overplayed. And this is something that I always criticised Wenger for, not nurturing a player, not teaching them, not taking them out the spotlight at certain times and saying, right, you're back in the under 23s or whatever, or today you're going to sit on the bench, or today I'm not picking you in the squad. You know, Wenger used to overplay players so much, especially Alex Iwobi. Used him too much in the early days, and then didn't really take him out the squad. And then when he did take him out the squad, he'd always bring him on. So, you know, Unai Emery done the same with Alex Iwobi. I do feel Iwobi got a lot better under Emery, but let's be real, he probably wasn't good enough, was he? Let's be honest. Is Guendouzi going to be good enough? I don't know. I see something there. I see a player there. I think that he's got the ability. Has he got the awareness on the pitch? Not at the moment. Does he track runners? No. Does he switch off easily? Yes. But that's all things where you then need your manager, your coach, your senior players to guide him through and say to him, look, we're going to take you out the spotlight for a bit. And if he's got the ump with that, well, it's kind of tough, isn't it? Let's be honest. I like him. I think he's going to be a brilliant player. But at the same time, he hasn't been doing it. And he can kick off all he likes. And I like the passion. I love all of that. Like, I'd rather him have the ump by not playing than go, all right, cool, I'll just go and play Fortnite or whatever it is he's into. But at the same time, he now has to work. He has to roll his sleeves up and he has to try and get back in that team, because if he has got dreams of going to the Euros, he's got to be playing football or he ain't getting picked. It's as simple as that. You know, France have got so many good players in their national team that he ain't going to be a first name on the squad list, is he? Let's be honest. So he does need to play games. Also, there is the possibility that we could sell him in the summer. And if we was to sell him, he might end up at PSG. Who knows? You know, he started off his career at PSG, I believe. So, you know, he might end up going back to PSG. And I do think that if we was to sell him, there'd be an awful lot of people queuing up to buy him. And I think we'd make a massive profit on him. So maybe that could be something that we do. You know, at the end of the day, is he good enough to get us up to that top tier of the table? Probably not. Probably not, especially right now anyway. Can he get to that level? I don't know. Have we got time to waste finding out? Probably not. This is something that people have a go at me about all the time. Oh, it's a process. It's a process. No, you can go from being bang average to going right up the top of the table real quick with a few smart business moves and being ruthless with some players and playing your players in the right position, of course, and being tactically astute. But Guendouzi, how much is he worth if we was to sell him in the summer? Maybe 40 million. He's 20 years old. He's played nearly 100 games for Arsenal Football Club in the Premier League. He's been called up to the French squads. I'd say maybe 40 million. And the reason I'm saying 40 million is not based on his actual ability. It's based on everything. The fact that he's got another 12 years ahead of him. You know, and obviously the younger he is, playing at the high level of the Premier League, obviously not the highest level because we're not near the top. And Arsenal are pretty dead right now. But would easily get 30 million. Easily get 30 million. And we bought him for what, £8 million? So that's something that might be an option in the summer. That would also, if you think about it, what with all this financial fair play stuff going around with City at the moment, it would also give us a huge budget on top of the actual budget. Because if we was to get 25, 30, 40, let's say 40 million quid, let's say they paid 12 of that up front, you know, that could then go and fund the players' wages for 2 years or a year or whatever it may be. Or it could even fund the next payment up front for somebody else that's already been signed last summer. Or it can fund the first payment up front for a player coming in. So I don't want to sit here and say I'd definitely sell him, because I don't think I would definitely sell him. But if an offer comes in over 40 million quid, take it. Yeah, take it. Thanks very much for hanging out the car. After we beat Tottenham 4-2, it's time to say goodbye. But yeah, anything over 40 million quid, I'll take it. And we're going to have this with a couple of our players, because Martinelli, I spoke about this yesterday and people got the raging up with me. I've seen people in my comment section on some of the videos I've done yesterday going, Yeah, but you were saying drop Lacazette, and you were saying that Eddie should have started the next game because he scored against Bournemouth and blah, blah, blah. Well, did Eddie start against Burnley? No. So there we go. That puts that one to bed. And Eddie Nketiah, this is what I was going to come to in terms of Martinelli. Eddie Nketiah couldn't get in Leeds United starting 11 every week. We then stopped him going out on loan. He wanted to go out on loan. Arteta said, no, you've got a future at Arsenal. Cool, we back that decision. Fine, whatever. I think he's a good player, Eddie. I don't think he's quite good enough for Arsenal, but I think he's a good player. But then to start him up front over Martinelli, I think was stupid. You know, I know he hit the bar yesterday and it could have been a completely different story and everyone would have been waxing lyrical about how great he is because he scored a goal. He didn't, and I thought his all-round play yesterday was shocking. Not all the way through the game, but as a whole, I thought he was really poor yesterday. And, you know, Newcastle are not the best team in the league, far from it. And he weren't really in the game. His hold-up play is not all that. And then when you look at Martinelli on the flip side of that, he was our player of the month for January. He's been banging in goals. Every time he's on the pitch, he creates something. He sets one up or he scores a goal. The last game he played, he wasn't fantastic. The game before that, he ran 70 yards and scored a goal against Chelsea. So I don't quite understand why he didn't get the nod up front. If you're going to go with a different player other than Lacazette, then surely you go with the guy that's banging goals in and doing something every game. Obviously, it didn't end up being a problem in the end because we won 4-0. But this is what I wanted to say. A lot of people have criticised me, rightly so, at times. But I feel like yesterday, that starting 11, despite winning the game, it was all wrong. It was all wrong. And people said, yeah, but how can it be the wrong starting 11 if we win the game? I'll tell you exactly why it was the wrong starting 11, even though we won the game. Because we were still playing a player on the left wing that should be up front. If we're not going to play him up front, you go with the next best striker. The next best striker at the club is Martinelli. Now, yes, it worked yesterday. When it comes to that run of games that I mentioned the other day, where we've got Wolves away, Leicester at home, Tottenham away, and Liverpool at home, all in a row, all back to back to back to back. If we go with Eddie Nketiah up front in any of them games, with Martinelli on the bench and Aubameyang on the left wing, how many points do you think we're getting? And that's what I mean about it's the wrong 11. It might be the right 11 in a Europa League game because the level of competition is not as great, is it? But in the Premier League, I don't think that you can afford to, you know, toy with an Eddie Nketiah up front over somebody who's just won your player of the month, who's got double figures on goals this season. When the guy who's starting has 1 goal for Arsenal this season, yes, he only played 1 game, fair play to him, but he's only scored 1 goal. And he couldn't get in a team in the Championship. So I just think that that was a wrong thing to do. I think that if you had put Martinelli up front, I think that would have probably been a better first half. But it doesn't matter. We won the game. We move on to Thursday. He obviously dropped Lucas Torreira, Martinelli as well. Will they come back into the team for Thursday? Because we've got a big game against Olympiacos now, and I know a lot of you in the chat don't like the Europa League. I like it. I like it a lot. And I want to win it. Yeah, and I've wanted to win it since we've been in it. I don't want to get battered 5-1 every year in the Champions League. I want us to go and do what's required to compete in the Champions League. So if we do get Champions League football via the Europa League, we best be going out there and doing what's required in the transfer market. Otherwise, we're going to get embarrassed. And that's not being negative. It's being realistic. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Actually, hang on, one more thing, because everyone keeps telling me in the chat, and I've forgotten all about this. Wifey, not my official wifey, Kieran Tierney wifey. I've seen a story going around the last few days that that he could be going to Leicester City. Now, I don't know whether he's got a clause in his contract that says if we don't get European football, he can leave. I would be shocked if we sell him. Yeah, but at the same time, this club moves in mysterious ways. And I find it amazing that this is even a story. So something's been leaked out there somehow, either by Leicester City, by Tierney, by Tierney's people, his agent, by Arsenal Football Club. But somebody's put that story out there because, believe it or not, journalists don't just make up stories. They get that information from somewhere. Whether it's a true story or not, I don't know. But it would seem weird that Arteta said that everyone's got a clean slate, everyone starts from scratch again, and then he doesn't give Tierney a clean slate and he doesn't start from scratch again. He did actually come out in his press conference the other day, or just before the press conference while they're in Dubai, sorry, saying that his work rate in training has been non-stop. He has been absolutely top draw. But again, we shall find out whether that was just all talk or whether he has been great in training, because as Arteta said with Guendouzi, the reason he didn't play is because he hasn't really been cutting it in training. And that was what he said about Pepe. It's what a lot of people have said about Pepe. For me, the whole training ground thing, I don't really get it. You can look fantastic in training. It's not a live match scenario, is it? You know, you can run around cones as much as you want in training. You've got to try and take a man on and score a goal or defend. So if Tierney doesn't get in that starting lineup, and I know before you all scream at me, Bukayo Saka's been amazing, and he has, I'd move him further forward. But then where do we put Martinelli? You know, we've got good youngsters in this team, and Tierney's still kind of young. Ilias said, evening to you, mate. It says Tierney won't join Leicester. Well, you never know. They're pretty much nailed on for Champions League football, mate. And let's be real here. That's where a lot of players want to be, is Champions League. So I don't know. I don't think we'll sell him. I don't want to sell him. I think he's our best left back. And hopefully we get to see that, because he can actually take a man on. He can cross the ball and he can defend, which is saying that our left backs, apart from Bukayo Saka, who's not a left back, can't do over the years. So we shall see. Anyway, 17 minutes of me waffling on. Thank you very much to 450 people watching this live. Big up everyone watching this on Facebook. I can see your comments on this StreamYard that I'm using to stream this. So if you want to put your comments in, I can read them out. Do drive the likes up as well. That'd be fantastic. And don't forget, 7 o'clock, not 7:30, 7 o'clock tonight, members live stream. So if you're on level 1, 2 or 3 membership level, see you at 7 o'clock. I'll put the link on the members community page. But let's read out some of your comments. What do you make of Arteta saying Ceballos needed to fix his behaviour? Well, hopefully that same rule applies for everybody, mate. And that is only Coca-Cola, by the way. Before anyone goes, he's drinking rum again. I'm not drinking rum again. I am drinking Coca-Cola. Fly Sean, I'm very good, buddy. How are you? I'm good. What do I think of him saying about Ceballos? This is the thing, yeah. Like, again, he's come out and said that. He's come out and said about Pepe. He came out and said about Guendouzi and their training. And, you know, when he first came, he was dropping Pepe to put Reece Nelson in. And for me, that was just ridiculous. It was like, what's Reece Nelson ever done to warrant a start at Arsenal? He then scored the goal against Leeds, which won us the game. And then he got injured. So, and then since then, Pepe's won us a couple of games, isn't he? Well, no, sorry, he won us the game against Man United, and then he won us the game after the Leeds United game, which was yesterday, him and Saka. So maybe Arteta's doing that just to get them to raise their game. But this hard cop, like good cop, bad cop type thing only works if the player's mentality is right. And sometimes when you're going up against players that are on big salaries, big egos, at big football clubs, you come out a loser, mate. Yeah, and we've seen this already with Unai Emery. He took on Mesut Ozil, and all the Ozil teens out there claimed victory when Ozil stayed, and Emery got sacked. So I'm not saying Ceballos is in the same level of, you know, stature in terms of the footballing community, in terms of followers, PR game and stuff like that than Ozil, but I'm sure he's got an ego because he plays for Real Madrid, and you have to have some level of ego to strut around. No, I'm a Real Madrid player. I've seen it with some of the Arsenal youngsters when I've been at training grounds and stuff. They walk around like they're S.Teov stink, mate. And they're like 18-year-old driving around in a 90-grand motor and stuff like that. Listen, fair play to them. They probably rented it. It's probably been given to them. It's probably a sponsor of the club, whatever. But they walk around with a chip on their shoulder, a lot of these players. So if he has got a chip on his shoulder, let's hope that Arteta knocks it off. But thank you, Christian Burton, for your donation, buddy. I'm concerned about Guendouzi being left out. He's a great talent and shown it in the games where we've struggled. I'm also worried about Saka's contract. You've made a very good point. Thank you for that, mate. The games where we've struggled, Aston Villa being one of them very early on in the season, he was superb in that game, Guendouzi. Against Tottenham, we were struggling. and he set up Aubameyang. What a pass, by the way. So yeah, there's been games where he's been that driving force forward against, I think it was Vitoria, where Pepe scored them 2 free kicks. He was the guy that drove forward again, Guendouzi, and won that free kick that Pepe smashed in the top bins. So there has been games where he's played really well this season. But then on the other side of that, a lot of them have been under Unai Emery, and it don't look like Arteta rates him. But also that, on the flip side, maybe you should play him at number 10 every now and again. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because at the moment, I just think that you're not dropping, well, I wouldn't be dropping Torreira and Xhaka, regardless of whether it's only Newcastle and then they're going to sit a bit deep, blah, blah, blah. I've heard every excuse in the book for why Torreira's been dropped. Oh, we've just had 2 weeks off, mate. In fact, he's had 3 weeks off because he only played half a game against Burnley. So I just find it funny sometimes that, you know, players can get the ump and get dropped and stuff like that, but also at the same time, these players are professional athletes, right? And to play 2 games in a week, especially when our season's been crap, how Torreira needs a rest is beyond me. How any of these players need a rest is beyond me. They've done nothing all season, ghosted through games. They've gone to Dubai for 2 weeks, and now it's, oh, but we needed to rest Torreira. He's important for the rest of the season. All right, so Newcastle wasn't an important game then. Surely every game's important. But what do I know? What do I know, eh? Cedric to replace Tierney. You're a wind-up. I swear, Georgie. He ain't coming to Leicester, mate. I'm telling you. Ain't happening. Neftali says, Lee, what do you think of Arteta's passionate response during the post-match conference in defence towards Lacazette? I liked what he said. I watched that press conference earlier today, the post-match one. And he was looking a little bit awkward when they asked him about Pep and Man City. I can't lie. But yeah, listen, he ain't going to sit there and slag him off, is he? I think the fact that he's picked him every week until yesterday shows that he likes Lacazette. There's something about Lacazette that he likes in the game. For me, I don't see it. And I like Lacazette as a player, but I genuinely think that we should put Aubameyang up front and put Martinelli on the wing and then put Pepe on the other wing. I think that makes us so much better. Then you go with your number 10, whether that's Ozil, whether that's Ceballos, whether that's Willock, whether you could put Guendouzi there, and then you go with Xhaka and Torreira. That, for me, is decent. Yeah, based on performances of Xhaka and Torreira, Martinelli and Pepe, and then you could go with whoever you want at number 10, and then put Aubameyang up front. For me, that makes us so much better than what we're doing right now. But there we go. There we go. He's not going to sit there and coat the players off, I don't think. But afternoon to everybody in the chat room. Nearly 500 people watching this live, so do drive the likes up. If we can get 40 million for Iwobi, I reckon we can get 50 to 60 for Guendouzi, says Dr. Viraj. Evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. Tierney is the most overrated player in the squad. I think you're forgetting a Mr. Missing, who actually turned up yesterday. He actually scored. I can't believe it. He actually scored. Oh, actually, that reminds me. I need to find this. That reminds me. Remember yesterday I was on a wind-up going, yeah, the Arsenal squad definitely watch my streams. They're just on a wind-up. I am telling you now, Lacazette and Ozil watch my streams. They watch my streams. Lacazette's Instagram post is him and Mesut Ozil with a thumbs up. The haters, they can't score, they can't assist. Us, with the thumbs up emoji. So when that guy was in my chat the other night going, oh, you're so negative, these players watch the streams, blah, 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 and I was just winding him up. Maybe they actually do. I know Arsenal watch it. Arsenal have got a social media team. They watch everything. Yeah, they literally watch everything. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. So there'll be somebody at the club that's watching this right now. So evening to them. Hello. I hope you're doing well. I swear to God. But yeah, they do watch everything, the club. I know they do. I'm not silly. Massive football clubs monitor everything. Hence why they put out certain posts on their social medias. You know, like they'll see the general consensus on a player, like, I don't know, say Mesut Ozil, and then you'll see the Arsenal social media team then post out Mesut Ozil smiling, ready for the game. Yeah, because everyone's getting, I hope Ozil's playing. I hope Ozil starts. Oh, Ozil could be doing this. Ozil could, and they just search the word Ozil or say, or whatever it is they do, and then all of a sudden, bang, that post's going to get loads of traction. The more their posts get traction, the more they can get bigger sponsorship deals, because the more people that see it and like it and share it, collected together with all their other social media accounts, whether it be Insta, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, helps them get advertisers come to the club as well. Oh yes, look, we've got 15 million on Twitter, we've got X amount of million on Insta, we get this on our attraction on this post and that post. So that's why they do it, which is fair enough, isn't it? Evening to McManus. Have you seen that we are linked with Daily Blind? Jesus Christ, is that true? I hope not. For me, Guendouzi deserves to be in over Joe Willock, says Christian. Thanks again, buddy. I like Joe Willock, but I think, I don't know. See, he's a weird one. I know he came on again yesterday towards the end, but I do think that we've got a lot of players at this football club that are underrated and overrated at the same time. You know, a lot of people overrate Guendouzi, and then a lot of people underrate Guendouzi, and it's a split on him. It's the same with Willock. A lot of people think he's going to be amazing, he's going to be this, and they won't have a bad word said about him. And then a lot of people just don't get it. Same with Eddie and Nketiah. I think the only ones that we're really like bang on with in terms of the youngsters are Bukayo Saka. I think everyone's on the same page with him, and Martinelli. Other than that, I think there's kind of a split on them. But now that's down to Arteta to manage them properly in terms of games and stuff like that, and take them in and out of the team. If Guendouzi was mouthy in Dubai, do you think Arteta made an example of him? Says Gershwin. Evening, Gershwin. Yeah, but then at the same time, I'm sure he's not the only one that's upset that he's not playing. Maybe Maitland-Niles has been dropped for the same reason. Who knows? He's been dropped from the last two squads, which is pretty weird. I don't get that. But there we go. Laka was Leon's number 10, so who knows? Evening, Seb. I hope you're good, mate. I've said that we should play him at number 10. I think that he'd be better at number 10. Well, at the time when I said it, I said he scores goals. Fair play, he actually did score yesterday. So, like I said, him and Mesut Ozil clearly watched my streams because they were like, yeah, and their Insta post was definitely for me. And if anyone thinks I'm being serious, I'm not. I'm on a wind up. So there we go. Lacazette is always on Instagram. I think we should play Laka at number 10 as well, says Chris. Evening, Chris, buddy. I hope you're good. Evening, Kerry, darling. I hope you're well. Let's do another 5 minutes. I'm going to get myself out of it. Don't forget, if you are a member of the channel, 7 o'clock tonight will be a live stream for members. You are, if you want to, available to come on the channel so we can do face-to-face or face-to-audio, whatever you want to do. So when I've set that up later and all the members are in there, I'll put the link in the chat, click on it and follow the prompts on StreamYard and it'll take you straight in. And I can look at your ugly mugs then, can't I? Instead of you just looking at mine. And if you aren't a member of the channel, feel free to sign up. It's in the description of this video. So go and check that out. It's a level 1 membership tonight, live stream. And the higher you go up in levels, the one underneath you get as well. So if you're level 2, you get level 1, all of the perks on that. And if you're level 3, you get level 2 and 1. So yeah, there you go. Have a look, see what you think. It's a disgrace that Arsenal players cannot put 100% performances in every single week, says Moise. Evening at Moise. Mate, it all boils down to a lot of things, right? And it boils down to the ruthlessness of this club. It boils down to sometimes the fans. Yeah, and when I say the fans, I'm not blaming the fans. I'm adding all these things together to make us where we are. The fans idolize players based on nothing sometimes. So even if somebody has a bad game, they go, well, but 4 years ago, he was great. He was amazing. We did it with the manager, who outstayed his welcome in the end for a lot of people. And on top of that, it don't help where I've said it before. You've got ex-players that won't say the truth. And the truth is there's a lot of bad eggs at this football club. They know it. We know it. They know it. Everybody knows it. You can't have the same players down tools for 3 or 4 different managers, but then when they fancy it, they can turn it on and go and batter someone. I'm not talking about yesterday, by the way. I'm just talking about in general. You know, for example, Tottenham at home, the 4-2. How could they play that good that day? How could they play that great against Man United last season? How could they play that great against Chelsea at home last season? How could we play great against Fulham away, although Fulham were crap? But how can we play brilliant against Valencia at home and away? Atletico at home, we should have battered them until Koscielny did a Koscielny. So there's games where they can turn it on and step up. Napoli home and away, superb. They didn't get a kick. And then there's games where you're just looking at them thinking, what's wrong with them? And people go, oh, but that's because the manager, and that's because of the negativity from the fans. Absolute rubbish. Graham Souness, yeah? I don't know if anyone's seen this. Graham Souness absolutely ripped Aubameyang to pieces yesterday on Sky, and I make him 100% right. Yeah, Aubameyang goes, oh, yes, we now know what we're doing. He goes, this is a senior player, 31 years old, that has been in and around football nearly his whole life, and he needs to be told what to do on a football pitch. Really? You've played at Dortmund. You've played in England. You're probably going to play in Spain next season. He shouldn't be coming out saying that. And I made Graham Souness absolutely spot on. And what he was doing is basically having a pop at Unai Emery. Yeah, which for me is just laughable because everyone's now going down this route of blaming Emery. Well, is anyone going to credit Emery for playing Bukayo Saka every week or throwing him in the team? Because I ain't seen anyone praising him other than I think it was Kenny Ken. Big up Kenny. So, you know, it's at the same time, if you're an 18-year-old boy, yes, you might need telling what you have to do. You might need to be told, well, you need to positionally do this, or when he gets the ball, you need to overlap him, or you need to do this. Because it's all about you nurturing you because you're a youngster and making you get better. When you're a 31-year-old top striker coming out with, oh, yes, well, now under Arteta, we now know what we're doing. Fucking turn it in, mate. Graham Souness ripped him, and I make him right. If you haven't seen it, just type in on a Google search, Graham Souness Aubameyang, it'll come up. And everything Graham Souness said was spot on. Absolutely spot on. So there we go. Anyway, I'm going to do a few more comments. Do drive the likes up. That would be much appreciated. And yeah, that would be good. That would be really nice. And if you are watching this on Facebook, do fully share the post as well. Nearly 5,000 on Facebook followers. So that's pretty relentless. Thank you very much for all the love on the social media platforms. Insta and Facebook are in the description. Nearly on 9.5 on Insta as well. So thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's read 3 more of these out and I'm getting out of here. That comment's hilarious. Balev says, Graham Souness is still butthurt from the Ali Dia incident. Oh dear. Do you think Mustafi and Louis should be first choice centre-back, says Chris, one of the channel members? Yeah, I do actually, mate, at the moment. I think they're playing really well. I think they're playing really, really well. So, yeah. When is the next level 2 stream? That will be later this week. And level 3 will be later this week as well. So level 1 stream will be tonight. And then I'll keep you posted on the 2 and the 3. But 7 o'clock tonight, I'm going to set that up shortly. I'll put the link in the community. Is level 4 pay-per-view. Level 4 is me sat here naked in baby oil, mate. How's that? It's not. It's genuinely not. That's level 104. But listen, I'm getting myself out of here. I will be back at 9 o'clock as well, by the way. I'm not doing a watch along for the Man United game because I've just done this. I'm doing the member stream at 7, and then I'll be doing the normal live stream at 9 o'clock. So I will be back later. Check it out. I'm out of here. Have a wonderful early evening. Laters, peeps.